Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be doing another manga review. Now, what's the book we're gonna talk about today is gonna be this one, Touring After the Apocalypse. Now the cover looks very happy-go-lucky. You got these two girls here, Yuko and Airi. They're rolling around in this I think it's like a Yamaha motorcycle. So this book is basically just like it says, they're touring the apocalypse. Now what does that mean? It means that they're it's in a post-apocalyptic world and they're kind of just touring the town, right? So before we get started on the book itself, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. That will keep you notified on your feed every time a new video drops. So now that we got that out the way, let's talk about the book a little bit. Let me read the synopsis to you in the back. It pretty much sums things up. It says here, all alone after the end of days, two girls ride through the desolate ruins of Japan. But they're not about to let the collapse of civilization get in the way of sightseeing. From the hot springs of Hakone to the massive Tokyo Big Sight, they've got the run of the country's most popular tourist spots all to themselves. So why not make the most of it? Sounds pretty happy-go-lucky, right? Okay, now what are we gonna get here? It's a post-apocalyptic world. You got these two girls, and in this book, it almost feels like we're a tourist and they're the tour guide. They're taking us from spot to spot, right? Check out Staples Center. Check out right here, the Queen Mary, check out Planet Hollywood, whatever. They're taking you to like different areas and they're telling themselves, right, like, oh, let's check out this place, let's check out this place. But as the way it's written, it's like they're taking you along with them and they're telling you, check out this place. Look, this is where the president so-and-so did this, or this is where this famous celebrity got married, or whatever, right? They're explaining to you like the history of that area and why it's popular and so forth. So this is, I thought that was a real nice, it felt like educational to me, right? Like, what I mean by that is like, if you have never been to Japan, which I have not, these places, they feel like they're real places. I'm pretty sure they're real actual tourist areas there. So it's like it's taking you there and explaining to you the history of Japan, right? Of these areas and whatnot. So you feel like you've kind of visited. You have a vague idea of what to expect as a tourist, what are the hot spots to check out and so forth. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now when it takes you to some of these places and it's explaining to you like the whole tourist and sightseeing thing, it reminded me a little bit of this other book called Aria or Ariel. And that one, they do something similar. They're in France. Here they're in Japan. And that one, they're in I think they're in Italy actually. Right? So in Paris. So when they're taking you sightseeing on that book, it's showing you the areas. And it's explaining to you the same as here. But there, the art is phenomenal on those books. So when you're seeing the art, it adds so much to it because you feel like you're actually there. And you're seeing it's drawn so photorealistic. You're like, wow, this looks awesome, right? And you feel like you actually went there as a tourist and with a tour guide and they explained it to you. So this has a similar vibe. Unfortunately, the art here, while it's nice, you can see from the covers and so forth, it's a little more cartoony. So it doesn't hit with the same impact as on that other book. Here, those scenes, you don't feel immersed in them, right? You don't get the same vibe from it. But what this one does a lot better is the characters themselves here, the two girls, they're a lot more entertaining than the characters on the other manga, to me at least. So here you get some characters that have, you see them getting developed, they have a little more oomph to them. We get to see what they're about and they're chit-chatting with each other and so forth. So it's very much about the characters here because story-wise, not a lot happens. They're just sightseeing pretty much. It's very slow paced. It's like I said, there's not a lot of action. There's a few high octane moments where like you get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, but about 90% of the book is slow paced, slice of life type of stuff, right? Like they're driving a motorcycle, so it's not like action fight scenes, but they're driving a motorcycle, so I'm gonna leave the rest to your imagination of what kind of exciting moments can happen when you drive a motorcycle. Now one thing I like too is they go on their day-to-day business, right? There isn't restaurants here, there isn't chefs and cooks, so they're kind of showing you how they eat, right? Like, oh, we go fishing and we go to a sporting goods store that's abandoned to find fishing equipment. We go to abandoned houses to see what they left in their fridges or whatever, maybe can of beans or whatever, right? So you get that kind of stuff. Stoves don't work, there's no electricity, so they teach you how they start a fire, right? Like little things like that they do here. It's kind of educational, like I said. So like if you ever go camping or something, some of this stuff could probably come in pretty handy. Last but not least, what I'm gonna mention here is a lot of questions get asked here. Why not a lot happens? A lot of little things happen that make you ask questions, right? That are not answered. So you're gonna have to keep reading the rest of the volumes. Like for example, where's everybody else? Where's everybody else? Why is it only them two? Another question, how did this world become post-apocalyptic, right? How did they turn to shit, basically, right? They don't explain that here, so you're gonna have to keep reading the rest of the volumes to find out, right? And that's pretty good. I like that, so that they didn't give away too much in the first volume, so that way you could keep reading, right? So the story doesn't end so quick. Last thing I'm gonna mention is there's this interesting thing where there's a few, you bump into along the way a few like cyborgs or robots. We're not sure what they are. Are they humans with robot parts? Are they robots with human parts? Again, this stuff does not get answered, but we hint at that they're not just robots, right? So then that means if they're not just robots, once we bump into humans, are they not just humans? Like for example, these two girls, there's a scene where they go swimming together. The girl that's a little older, she's bigger, she's swimming just fine. The other girl, who's much smaller, says, I'm too heavy, I would sink in this water. So you're like, what? Why would she sink, right? And you see in the picture, she's kind of like sinking, and the other girl's trying to find a way to keep her afloat. And it's like, huh? And they show something in her hand, and the artist never says anything, but the art shows something in her hand that leads you to believe that arm might be mechanical. It might not be a human arm. So is she human with just robot parts? Maybe she had an accident. Or is she actually just a robot that looks human, right? Like, we don't know, but the art did a good job at kind of hinting at that she's more than just human, without the dialogue ever bringing it up. So you just gotta be paying attention to these things. There's at its core, at the surface, it's just two girls sightseeing. But when you start peeling the layers like an onion, you start seeing what's happening behind the scenes. That's not up front. There's things that are asking questions, right? Like that thing with the hand, you're like, what's up with her hand? Or little things like that, right? That you're like, hey, you ask these questions, like, hey, why is the world like this? So yeah, there's more that meets the eye, basically. You gotta be paying attention to this, and you're like, oh, okay. And I think that's all I really have to say about this one. So if you read this book before, let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. I haven't seen any reviews on it. And also, if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. Other than that, I think I'm just gonna check you guys out next time.